I spend a lot of time looking at and thinking about food. Sometimes it's really nice food in a gorgeous venue. Mostly though, it's a hit and miss assortment of snacks I'm recording for my Super Yummy Munchie Cat channel. Link in description and pinned comment. Not to do the whole, my culture's unique, I like eating food thing, but it's extremely important to me beyond simple sustenance or pleasure. Put it like this. When was the last time you saw a new, distinct color you couldn't possibly have imagined? You simply don't get new, fundamental sensory discoveries like that with your vision, but with taste. Every once in a while, you get hit with something so simple, but unique. Now, you can reduce such flavors down to their constituent chemicals, analyze it scientifically, but the subjective experience is as clear, simple, and immediate as seeing a paint swatch that shouldn't be possible. It's mind-blowing every time. All this is to say, I am genuinely a bit nutty about food, and am not pretending to care for the sake of insulting Zoran Mamdani for political reasons. Though he is the reason for this video, because I've been watching the Asian race war over rice on Twitter that this picture of him has sparked. And because his rice grain groping is horrific. See, it's of course not just flavor I'm interested in when it comes to food. There's texture, temperature, presentation, cutlery, and even technique. Hell, add venue and societal context even. The whole package. To me, eating rice with your hands while sitting on a park bench is a catastrophe on almost every conceivable level. Ideally, one should always have freshly washed hands when eating, but that's not always possible on the go. Not a big deal though, if what you're eating has a wrapper, either because it's a product you bought or because you wrapped it yourself. Or if you're out in nature and you have a bag of potato chips, whatever, fine, reach in. So long as your hands aren't significantly soiled, it is what it is. Scrabbling around in a takeaway foil container of rice like some kind of goblinoid at the park, though? No. Hand washing is absolutely mandatory for this. But what does that mean? If I were to go into my nearest city to do what he's doing, it would mean punctuating my lunch with the sights, smells, and sounds of a public bathroom to prepare my hands and then wash them off afterwards. That alone would be cause for me to use cutlery instead, or pick a different food entirely, even if I would use my hands in a home or restaurant setting. And that's before even considering what effect the soap's lingering scent would have. If I were an extreme finger food enjoyer, my pleasure would be nullified by the circumstances. Well, it's not like people are sticking their fingers in their mouths though, is it? And when you watch this guy, they don't really. But I've actually been watching people eat biryani with their hands, and they do in fact be suckling. But it's worse than that, because they're pretentious about it at the same time in a way that I've only ever seen once before. If you are a total ponce of a tea drinker, we're talking if you are a massive bundle of sticks, something you might appreciate is fine bone china with a thin enough lip that, when rested gently enough upon your lips, the only thing you'll feel is the tea entering your mouth. An ethereal experience as if an angel baby birded you and dribbled the drink right into your hole. This is anathema to me. My cup of choice is a big, chunky fellow Joey. I want the cup to be part of the experience and feel good to drink from. The idea of nothing but the food entering or touching your mouth being important is utter wankery to me. You're not that special or delicate that the faintest touch of porcelain or utensil will ruin your day. I do enjoy the finer things, but there's a limit where it's not about how special the things are, but about how special you are. There comes a point where you are just jerking yourself off culinarily in public. So, I'll be honest, this clip I watched was a bit of a kill shot to the whole eating slop with your hands concept for me.
The first thing that goes into my mouth is not some spoon, it is the food.
That's right. No wretched spoon shall pass her lips, but something else will. Despite claims you may have seen that everyone who eats like this uses a thumb flicking technique. Just the food, right, lady? Guess you must have ordered a knuckle sandwich with a side of biryani. You are bullshitting to make grabbing goo into something it isn't. And she ain't the only one. There are legions. I'm not even fundamentally against eating like this in a home or restaurant context, but my low opinion of the fan base makes me dislike it. And I can't choose to ignore it. The damage is done. Like a video game with an obnoxious, unavoidable community. Or a piece of music you find out was written by a chomo. Sometimes I find, on a gut level, you just can't personally separate the two things. Thanks to Twitter, I now see the hand shape employed to shovel with and involuntarily think, retard claw. Because apparently, anyone who's on board with eating rice like this can't see the difference between that and holding the crust of a pizza, or bun of a burger, holding fried chicken, or sauced wings, because using utensils is awkward, and perhaps even licking one's fingers at the end is too murky a shade of grey for them. Though funnily enough, they tend to be able to recognize that that's kinda grubby, while unable to view finger-fucking fried rice in the same light. Perhaps because it's the food of their currently preferred protected class. If any of you guys have made your way here from Twitter, let me show you another brown Muslim finger food to compare with and see if my problem clicks with you.
So typically when you scoop something up, you just want to scoop it with the injera without touching the actual sauce?
Damn. Why not? By the way, if you find yourself suddenly able to make a distinction between stews and a slightly less sloppy rice dish to argue against what I'm showing you here, I don't believe you also can't see the difference between these and a hot dog. This nice lady that I've just shown you, much like the rice goblin, also expresses a preference for not ramming her fingers down her throat. But she also actually manages not to do it. No special Beyblade let-it-rip thumb flick tech even needed.
And then when you eat it in a way where you're not putting your hand in your mouth really, you're just kind of dropping the injera in your mouth. Okay. So it's like...
And she doesn't make it all about avoiding the sensation of spoons. It just is what it is. It's how it's done. It's nice like this. Now, I don't find this to be the most visually appealing food, but she makes me want to try it. Certainly looks better than blood, brains, guts, and tongues anyway, and I enjoy all of those. Come to think of it, the bread with all those bubbles in it looks a bit intestinal. But isn't she missing out by separating her skin from the sauce?
To feel the texture of biryani with my hands.
Ah yes, the texture as experienced by your hands. Tactile dining. Yeah, like when I plunge my fist into a fresh can of baked beans. Just another layer of wank that in another context by another person will be laughed at by those defending it, which you'll often see added further onto by people claiming it shows a special respect to the food to dig your hands in contrast with what? Using a nice utensil? You're dissing the craftsmanship there. See, to cut the meat with a finely made L'Aiguille-style knife would be a disrespect, apparently. You're not a paladin, you're not laying on hands, you touching the rice isn't a great honor, you're just hungry. A crude necessity has been wankified. Somehow finger food is being made more artsy-fartsy than silverware and crystal. Imagine if I told you that I was eating buffalo wings with my hands to honor the sacrifice of the animal I'm now consuming. You'd tell me to fuck off. No, it's a little bit mucky. Certainly fair to call it primitive, but it's effective and satisfying. I tenderly grab the flat so as to be able to appreciate the viscosity of the sauce with my digits. Can you imagine? Be for fucking real. Although, while a more down-to-earth approach from the fan base of finger food fried rice would lessen my disdain, I would still not be a fan. Look, with some foods it works. With others, it just doesn't. Feeling the softness of a bun and texture of its crust. The confirmation that your sushi has been perfectly formed, creating anticipation. Hey, with that, you can sort of shoot my own criticisms back at me. But it's legit. The joy of making sure your slop is adequately mulched as your fingers get slimed. Not so much. There you gotta pretend it's something it's not. Worth noting as well that when using a utensil, your hands don't go numb. If they do, you should go to the hospital. The way people talk about scooping slop, you'd think they lose all sense of touch when they grab a spoon. You do not become divorced from the food, and the feel of a well-crafted implement, including how it collides with the food, is its own pleasure. I'm sorry, but sometimes long-standing cultural practices are just kind of ass and gross. What percentage of the people sucking off these spiced fingers do you think would have a negative reaction to this? When I look again at the spice slops, I have to say this is giving desperation and zombie apocalypse. And I don't particularly care how many other people are only saying that because they're racist. Commentary on this practice takes the piss.
Using our hands and our flatbreads. And this is something that is a skill.
Yeah, a skill. Perfect for a talent show. And you're right, it's a matter of personal taste. But that just means you can't say I'm wrong. Oh, you grew up with it though. And more people do it than I think? Wow, that would be a great defense of nose picking, or more relevantly, I suppose, elbow licking.
Very often in southern India, you will find people who very quickly be able to lick all the way from their elbows to their wrists if there's something running down, and that's just part of the eating process. 90
Is what it is, dude. You gotta clean yourself like a cat. Very impressive skill. And if you're reading bigotry into this video, I have some homework for you to do. Go take a look around. Go find some of the things that Northern Indians have said about Southern Indians. You will find that I have been very polite.